What is going on, you guys? I'm here to bring you another video. So today I'm going to be talking about a little bit about the guilds and PvP briefly. I want to make this video very short. I don't want to make it too long, but I do want to start a little bit of a discussion in terms of how guilds have impacted the game lately, considering they haven't even been around for like a year. And just a little bit about some spell changes that they've recently added to Atmoplex, and how PvP is going to change in the future. So starting off, as you can probably tell, I am in a different guild. I'm not going to say specifics right now, but you know, that's not really a huge part of the discussion. What is a part of the discussion is that how guilds have impacted the game entirely, you know. And I know most of you know that, you know, every guild is going to have a common issue, kind of like how every job will have a common issue. You will always find that one person that you just don't like, or you'll always just have that one issue that you're always going to run into. The same thing with guilds. It's almost like a second job, if you think of it that way. You know, constantly have to come up with Azoth, and everybody puts in the same amount of effort to have a common goal, and you'll have your managers or your leaders that's in charge of everything, that comes up with the roster or like the schedule. You know, it's almost like a second job that you just don't get paid for, if you want to put it into perspective. So I have been in a little bit of different guilds from time to time, so I can have a little bit of a insight on how, you know, a common theme that I've noticed. There are guilds that are more focused on community. There are more guilds that are just that are just focused on getting the gear, that are, or just focused on, you know, making sure that everything just runs smoothly, period. You know, there are different characteristics that makes a guild what it is. It also just depends on the people that you're around. It can also be in terms of, you know, relationships and greed and mutiny. You know, if people are just coming in and dipping, or people are just, you know, coming in just to start issues and problems. And, you know, it's very collaborative. It's a very collaborative event, depending on how many gates you have, 3 times a week or once a week, that you have to deal with all those 12 other people or 11 other people. It's a huge thing, but everyone has a common goal. Everyone wants the gear just as much as everybody else does, even if they're just around to help, you know. And there are certain things that come into play that will change probably soon, I hope. The 3-hour thing, I know it's rough for most people. You know, I've been in calls where people, you know, have to like run to the restroom, or they have to go get something to eat because they're diabetic, or they have to, you know, let their dogs out, or, you know, that 3-hour runtime is rough for most people. Even some people, most of the time I've been in raids and people have to leave midway and go do something, or, you know, or they just can't make it or do it because, you know, different time zones, you know, people all over the world. So it's just things like that I wish KI would maybe change a little bit, you know, make it 1-hour segments or something, like having intermissions, or having like a break time or something, or some way to pause it or something, because you also will run into issues of people not all casting on the gate to open it the second time or the third time. You know, you'll have that delay of time. That little bit of time added up for each run could equal to one whole run you could have had if people have, you know, casted accordingly. You know, things like that. It's just, I think guilds have been the biggest impact on this game, more than anything else that they've added into this game. And it's ruined friendships that I've seen firsthand. And it's unfortunate. but things happen and life happens. So whether if it's good or bad, it's just the way the world works. But hopefully guilds will get better as they progress and as time goes on, and KI will, you know, just make certain changes that will make them a little bit better than what they are now. Like I've said before, they haven't even been around for a year. And it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort, and I applaud the leaders and people who take the time to do all that stuff, considering it's almost like a second job. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of coordination and scheduling and all that. But moving on, slowly transitioning into just a very brief discussion on PvP. So I want to talk a little bit about what I've seen this week in terms of spells. So I saw that they're making Ision, Doom Oni, and Jin, as I will show on the screen, 11 pips. And of course, as you can see, what they have all in common is shield gambits. I guess because shield gambits are huge, that they feel like they should cost more pips to cast. I have not done PvP since last year in November, so I don't really know how much of I don't know how crucial that is, really. I am going to start PvP soon, and upload some videos hopefully soon, but that was a little rabbit hole. I do think that they are constantly making card changes, which I feel like they should just stick with the card change and move on, and not have to constantly change a card, especially a card multiple times, just because somebody wants it accustomed to their liking. You know, I just feel like if you can't use the card, or you feel like the card's not that useful to you, don't use it. Now, shads, yes, you know, those are your bigger hits, but you know, your conditions, I mean, they're not all that much. Considering S'mores just gives you like the overtime traps, Rusalka pretty much just gives you a blade, you know, stuff like that. You know, you're morally using those just for your big hits. You're not really necessarily using them for utilities, although utilities are a plus. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I think that there are certain spells that should just, once it's changed, it shouldn't be touched again. You know, it was brought out, it was, you know, put out to have that condition and then move forward. Now, if it's a new spell, and you know, if they feel like, oh well, I don't think that's fair, and they change it, then yeah, sure. But if the spell's been out for years and they're now changing it, and you know, constantly changing it because somebody's just complaining about it, you know, I think that's just ridiculous. But that's just my opinion. I think that, you know, even then they've recently changed. Like, let's look now. I'm on my storm, right? So let's look and see Rusalka right now. So it gives you a 35 regular blade, or a flat 180, or a flat 300. And then the new one is supposed to give you, I think, well, regular blades, like a 35, I think a 45, and something else. I'll probably show it up on the screen in a minute. So yeah, it'll give you like 3 different blades instead of having flat blades. So I just don't think, I think if they're going to change it again, they shouldn't touch it anymore. And if somebody complains about it, then they just are going to have to deal with it, because I think that if you have to change a spell that many times, just maybe just don't have the spell in there, or just don't use it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's just my opinion entirely. But I don't want to make this video too long. I'm just wanting to voice my opinion on how I feel about certain things and how things have changed in time, and just putting my 2 cents out there. Hopefully, you know, somebody will take an account on how I feel about the situation and how I feel about guilds and PvP and stuff like that. Morally, guilds. Not that guilds are a bad thing. Not that they're a bad incorporation into the game. I don't think that at all. I just think that there are a few downsides of having a guild that we should just take in consideration. and hopefully it'll just change with due time. But I don't want to make this video very long, as I said at the beginning. If you have not already, please like and subscribe. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I am trying to be a little more consistent on posting, although my life is a little crazy, so I do try to post when I can. But anyways guys, I will see you guys next time.